Hey, what's going on YouTube? How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I'm actually going to do a updated mid build guide for 8.4. Going in to 8.5. Things should be pretty much the same. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just gonna slam right into this. Let's do who's pretty quiet when we do these things. Let's do Maury's pretty quiet. All right, we're just gonna do this. This is going to be just a build guide for just the generalization of what you can build just to get started and everything like that. I'll go pretty in depth. I'll go over like starter items and everything like that, and like how to build them late game, what are the different options and everything like that. This is just a generalization for all mages. For certain mages, I'll go to their god specifically for their builds and things like that. Yeah, without further ado, let's do it. So the mage starter items, you have the option of Conduit Gem and Sands of Time and Vamp Shroud. Right now, if you guys are watching SPL or have seen other people be building things and whatnot, you're seeing a lot of people buying Conduit Gem and Sands of Time. Honestly, I wouldn't even put Vamp Shroud in here. I think it's completely useless, to be honest with you, unless you're Anubis. Not really a real reason to have that item. But let's bounce between these two because these are the most important ones. So Conduit Gem is a better item early on, probably for levels 1 through 7, 1 through 9, depending on the god you are. This item is going to be better than Sands, but Sands late game spike is better than the 2 upgrades for Gem of Focus or for Conduit Gem. So it's just kind of is depending on what you're looking for. It doesn't really matter too much late game on like the starter upgrade differential. It just depends on like the CDR difference and obviously the power, depending on the mage you are, like the scaling on your abilities. Might benefit from Sands of Time upgrade being Pendulum of Ages, of course, much better than the Conduit upgrade. It just kind of depends on whatever you're interested in, like the type of god you are. So for example, let's do for a Conduit build, your start is either going to be this with 2 health and this. So your start's going to look like this. And or you can have a start like this. And this is kind of up to you. Depends on greedy you want to be. With this start, you can go 1 of each and you could be fine. You can get 900 boots spike. Or 900 gold boots to spike pretty easily. With this start, you need the extra mana. You can reduce this to 1 and you have 50 extra gold, and you can get your 900 gold boots easier or faster. So yeah, basically with Conduit Gem, if you're facing someone that doesn't have Conduit Gem or Sands or something like that, you kind of just want to look for like poke early game and really use the passive from Conduit Gem, as it is a really good passive, especially in the early game, having true damage and extra damage. I'll leave this up so you guys can read it, but having 40 extra just base power or base damage just to hit somebody with is actually really good early game, especially since it's true damage. So you can poke with it quite a lot. So if you're facing someone basically with Sands of Time, or someone that's doing like a no starter and you have Conduit Gem, basically you just want to be really contesting mid camps. You really want to be contesting or like forcing your early pressure on like their red, or looking for early poke to get to their back camps, etc, etc. So let's do this build here. So these builds are pretty similar. Usually they don't really diverge too far. It's up to you what you want to build here. You can either go Shoes of Focus or you can go Shoes of Magi. It's up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then with this build, you go into Deso. You can go another flat pen build here. I'll go over both of these builds. So if they have healing, you go Divine. If they don't, just go Magus. You have this, and then you can go into a Shard, and you go into a Rod, and that is your curve. And then your Conduit Gem upgrade becomes Gem of Focus probably 95% of the time. I just think Archmage is kind of just not it I think it's like okay in some situations, obviously depending on the mage you are, but most of the time it's not going to make that big of an impact, where Gemba Focus is more guaranteed damage and stuff like that. Yeah, that's just kind of a general basis. And then the other build, if you're not going the double flat pen build, for the pen build is going to look like this. So you're going Deso, obviously, again, if they have healing, go Divine. And then you just go into Rod. Shard, you can go Coin if you're a fan of Coin, it doesn't really matter too much. Then your last item is kind of up to you, whatever you want. If you're trying to kill frontline, you can go an E-Staff or a Reaver for the extra health damage. If not, you can go a little Soul Gem. You can go Soul Gem even earlier if you want, instead of, like, you can swap these two around depending on, like, where you are. If you're equal, you might as well just go Shard so you can kill frontline. If you're not, then just go Soul Gem so you can literally kill whatever is in front of you. And then Slim little Gem of Focus here, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, Gem of Focus actually increases the damage from Soul Gem. Since it's ability based and your power is increased by 9% overall, or your damage output. I believe that should work. Yeah, obviously Ratatouille really good with Soul Gem, because if you're below half, the Soul Gem heal is actually more. That's something to keep in mind. But these two are kind of the general consensus of the two versions of Conduit. Obviously, you can kind of diverse with like situational items, like Staff of Mirrodin, for example. Staff of Mirrodin is really good right now, especially after the buff, that it kind of fixed a lot of the issues that it was having, where sometimes like the double cast would take too long or just things like that. But both of these can go Staff of Mirrodin. Staff of Mirrodin, pretty good item. You can sell boots for Mirrodin. You can sell boots for Reaver, sell boots for an E-Staff. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah. So those are the kind of the two builds. You can go, obviously, instead of Shard, if you want to go Coin, you can go Coin. I think Coin's getting really hard buff next patch to 2,400 gold. So I'm pretty sure you're always going to buy Coin. Pretty sure it's literally getting a power buff. It's literally getting a power buff and reduced on price. So I don't think you're going to go Shard anymore. Pretty sure you're always just going to build Coin. For 8.5, that is. But for right now, in this current patch, this is 8.4, I believe. This is kind of what your build is looking like. For this, the Conduit Gem Magic Focus start. If not, for the I can just hit clear. For this start, for example, you have you can get your boots to earlier, which kind of puts you in a better spot, especially if you just go 2 pots. Your build's just gonna look like this. You obviously, again, depending on the boots, it's completely up to you. If you want to go Shoes of Magi, go for it. If you want to go Shoes of Focus, go for it. It's completely up to you. Ratatouille here, since you're already on that curve, and then you go into a pen item. Obviously, again, it's kind of up to you, whatever you want to do for the pen item. And then if you're snowballing, go Soul Gem into a percent pen item. I'll just put Coin here because it's getting buffed. And then go into let's see, and into Gem of Focus, and then that's your build here. Again, situational items being here. Let me put it under it. Situational items being Staff of Mirrodin, Soul Reaver, and E-Staff. All very good items. It's kind of just dependent on what kind of god you are. If you can use Mirrodin really well, that being Merlin, Agni uses it really well. Apparently, Hera uses it really well. There's something else. There's a couple of gods I'm forgetting right now. Cuckoo, you can even say it uses it pretty well. Persephone, in theory, getting double dashes. Obviously, she's getting complete change, so it won't really matter for her. But yeah, those are your build options here, or like your slotting in type of stuff. So yeah, that's gonna start here. Honestly, it doesn't really diverse too much. If you're going the Sands start, this isn't really gonna diverse too much. Your build's kind of gonna look exactly the same anyway. Doesn't really change that much. You just go Sands of Time here, and you go Pendulum of Aegis. Nothing really changes. You're kind of the same build. Basically, the difference with Sands of Time and Conduit, like I said earlier, is that just your start is slower. Conduit, just kind of an overall better item at clearing buffs, back camps, stuff like that when you're coming out of base. Whereas Sands of Time is kind of just flat damage and CDR. So it's kind of up to you on whatever your playstyle is, stuff like that. So these builds are pretty much the same. So there is a different build as well. This is obviously a lot riskier, but it's pretty easy to get away with. So you start like this. You back at 2 minutes. It should be around when you're level 3. You back. You buy your lifesteal boots, and you're on this spike here. You just have to be very careful, obviously, with poke and stuff like that. But usually you can play with your jungler and get a mid camp anyway, but it doesn't really matter too much. Basically, to start here, you have your boot spike earlier than your opponent. That being that sets up for invades on the red buff, the purple buff, blue buff, back camps. You just have more pressure and more damage. You're kind of really strong at that time. You're spiking with the jungler at this time, which is actually really good because junglers are going bombas with boots rush. So you're spiking at the same time as the jungler, which is pretty important. So you're less of an asset here. And basically from here, landed. All right, hold on. We'll go back to it. Apologies. Okay, so this is the start again. So what you're gonna do is you go this, and this, in my opinion, this stops the whole sense time, like mishap type of situation where it's like kind of weird. Sense of time, pretty good. Just has a 700 gold, 30 power, 10% CDR. That's just a good item in general. So you can just kind of buy like this. And then rod, or this lost artifact, I gotta remove it. This lost artifact becomes rod, and then you go into Deso, and then you can slam dunk a soul gem here. Ooh. You slam dunk a soul gem, you have 30% CDR. Go into a shard or coin. I'll just put coin again because it's getting buffed soon. And then here's your curve, and then you upgrade sense time to Pendulum of Aegis. You're really online. Obviously, you can swap these out. But the difference with Pendulum Mages here, if you go this build, and then your Pendulum Mages, you'll have Pendulum Mages before you finish your percent pen. You have a lot of raw power here because this is 190 power, so you kind of start slamming at this current time once you get by this item instead of this. So obviously it's dependent on how the game's going. If the game's going pretty good and you're trying to keep snowballing, you'll Soul Gem here. If it's going equal, you go Karen's going here instead of Soul Gem by Pendulum Mages. And then maybe you get Soul Gem. Again, maybe get the situational items of E-Staff, Soul Reaver, or Staff of Mirrodin, depending on the characters you are. And that's kind of this build. This is a different style build. It's riskier at the start, but it pays out at 2 minutes as long as you're farming efficiently for your boots and everything like that. This is a riskier style. Just gotta be careful with poke and everything like that. But yeah, that's the general build for this. Let's see. Okay, so let's do the individual characters now. So, gods, they kind of use Book of Thoth. There aren't really that many. Actually, it's kind of only Cuckoo. So for Cuckoo, you might have seen in SPL, the first week of SPL, that people have been playing Cuckoo more often. You've seen one build or one start being this, and you have seen another start of being, and do another start of being this. This being, I think you go, okay. So you go something like this, I think, for this start. And then for this start, you go 2 health, 2 mana, or 1 health, 2 mana. Don't know, actually, I think you go 1 of each, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think you get 1 of each to save 50 gold so you can come back for bits 2 earlier. And then this build is a little different. You're paying for 1150 gold, which is upgraded Book of Thoth. Basically, you just want to get book as soon as you can here. So what your first back is going to be with that start is going to be full book. But I'll go over both builds for Cuckoo here because his style of build is a little bit different. So we'll go over this Sans book start first. So here you're going to go into CDR boots because obviously your passive, you're scaling with mana. This overall just helps them scale better. And then you go here, you finish Book of Thoth, and you can go into a Magus, which helps him with his NATO damage and everything like that. You can also go into Deso if you want to go into Deso. It's kind of up to you. And then his curve becomes a little weird here. Kind of up to you on what you want to do. You can do a shard just to get your 30% pen on your first ability, and then go right into a rod, for example. You can go into it's kind of weird. Cuckoo has a lot of base power, so it doesn't, you don't necessarily need rod. You can kind of just go into Soul Reaver here. Obviously you're scaling with mana. You're gonna hit like a truck here. You're super strong. It's kind of whatever, it's situational at this point. This item is kind of situational on what you want it to be. But, and then of course Pendulum Mage is here, and that's kind of what your build is looking like for this, like your build flow. Yeah, this item is super situational. You have Reaver here. In theory, you can go Mirrodin on him. It's not terrible. You can go Poly on him. It's kind of situational on this item. The Ratatouille can be swapped out for anything you want out of these items. Staff of Mirrodin can be a little weird on Cuckoo, but it's not terrible. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. Yeah, that's kind of your build thing here for this style. And then for book, the book 2 starts. You're going to do to make sure you have 2 men on this, because you're gonna go really fast. Just make sure you're not spamming your buttons all the time, because you will run So here you're gonna go into this, into a book of both, or actually, hold on. You're gonna go, yeah. So from book 2 here, you're gonna go into boots. You're gonna finish your boots here. Oh wait, actually, okay, I'm trolling. My brain fried. Okay. You're gonna go full book off of book here. And then you're going to go into CDR boots. You can go into Deso again if you want. You can go to Magus. You can go Divine. It's kind of whatever you want it to be here. For this, I'm just going to go Deso here. You can go into a shard again, or obviously coin when it's getting buffed. So you have like this, and again, your last item is situational. And you can actually slot in early stands here if you want. The curve isn't too bad. You just have you're very, very strong on your book spike. So in theory, if you want, you can go sands here on your 3rd item. It's 700 gold. It's a cheap, efficient item. Then you can go into Deso, shard, and you can go rod if you want. You can go Poly. You can go Poly. You can go Reaver. These are going to be your 2 curve items, and then you're going to finish Pendulum of Aegis. Going to be your overall build for this. Obviously, again, rod situational, you can swap out for whatever you want. So yeah, just keep that in mind. That is the kind of the general consensus for this build. Yeah, so that's for Cuckoo. Let's see, I don't know if there's really Anubis. Obviously is kind of just lifesteal build. There's not really too much diverse outside of that. I guess you can argue for Janus and Merlin kind of can have the similar build. You probably saw Pari doing a build of this, and then he's going into purple boots, Chronos Pendant. I believe he went into Soul Gem next, and then he went into, I think, Shard, Mirrodin, or maybe he went here. I believe he went Mirrodin here. Into, I don't remember what his last item was. I can't really remember. Maybe he goes Rod here. I'm not too sure. Maybe something like this. And then obviously Conduit is always going to go to Gem Focus here. There's a couple different version builds for Janus. He kind of uses, or he utilizes Soul Gem very well. So it's kind of the style you want. This build is really good as long as you're keeping pace and applying pressure, which that's what you should want to try to do with Janus and stuff like that. So yeah, there's this style of build, which is better early game because you can obviously spam your buttons with Chronos Pendant and Soul Gem. Then there is the oops, not this. I think Janus needs purple boots right now just for early game pressure. He can also go the default build as well. I think he uses it. You just want to go Soul Gem here always. I think he utilizes it completely fine. Ob Shard I think is really good on Janus just because if you want your first button to hit as hard as it can. And then Gem of Focus, of course, going in next here, and you're super strong. You're kind of loving it. It's just kind of the playstyle you want to do on Janus. And this is also similar to Merlin. Both builds work on Merlin as well. As Merlin utilizes Soul Gem very well. He utilizes Chronos Button very well, so you can spam your buttons. It's kind of a style you want to play. So just keep a general mind open for that. That's a kind of a general build for them. And honestly, that's kind of it for the mages. Honestly, those are kind of the meta mages going on right now. The other builds at the very beginning of the video, you can do that for any of the gods. I guess you can argue Kronos has a little bit of different build because he's trying to go bombas, but it's not really that much different. Not too much variation. It's just kind of dependent on the god as well. I guess Cuckoo and Baba use kind of the same build because you want to stack on Baba, you want to stack on Cuckoo, so both of these use the same thing. And yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, I think I covered all the bases, covered all the situations of how to use the pressure and everything like that. So yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. And if you guys want to see a certain type of video or anything like that, make sure you put down in the comments below of what you would like to see next. If you want to see like a play-by-play or a more in-depth guide of something or a god guide or something like that, then feel free to put it in the comments down below, and make sure to sub, put the notification bell thing on, and have a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys next time. Bye.